Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tom Burkhardt from Car Revs Daily with the 2017 Hyundai IONIQ Limited. This is, I think, my favorite hybrid of all time. It just is really terrific, drives great. In its sport mode, it's very enthusiastic. You don't have to sort of fight the accelerator like you do on many eco specials. Yet this thing will also do 50 plus miles to the gallon. So that's really impressive. And its handling and high-speed stability are also deeply impressive for a hybrid. But you know, before we go out under the handling loop, I want to do a quick walk around, show this electric blue Ioniq Hybrid Limited. It's a good looking sedan. It's got some clean lines, nice sort of Euro style hatch, and an aerodynamically optimized cam tail, so that tailgate is higher than a normal trunk. And really just generally a great car. I'm a big fan, and let's head out on the road in a little bit. These shrouded wheels are kind of cool. They're sort of aero optimized, although these are the Michelin Primacy tires, which are a little bit more performance oriented than in the Ioniq Eco and some of the other Ioniq trim levels. But they do look really cool on this Limited. And then the Limited also benefits from, in addition to LED DRLs in the lower portion there, you have an LED swipe coming through on the top of this lamp, and then high intensity discharge, low and high beams for the I think by LED projectors. So generally pretty upscale and premium machine. Drives great though. That's the biggest thing I want to enforce in this video. So hang on tight and we're gonna go for a drive. Alright, so out on the twisty handling loop with the 2017 Hyundai IONIQ Hybrid. So what should we touch on in this video? So first off, we'll talk about what Ioniq is, and then why I think it's my favorite hybrid above all Priuses so far, and then about this particular Ioniq and what equipment it has and how much it costs. Okay, so first things first, the Ioniq is Hyundai's global modular electric architecture. So there are three models, the Ioniq Hybrid, which is the cheapest at starting in the low 20s, and then you have the Ioniq plug-in hybrid, and then atop all of those you have the Ioniq Electric. So that is a full electric model that has no gasoline engine whatsoever. So this Ioniq Hybrid is expected to take the bulk of the sales volume because it really is a great balance of performance, price, and efficiency. So it really does deliver, and is the first actual Prius rival to come anywhere near what the Prius can achieve in real-world driving in terms of efficiency and ease of use. So it's really the first Prius rival, but I think it beats the Prius in a couple key areas. So those are really related to the drive experience. So Prius is like, anyone who's driven the current model Prius, which came out in like 2016, I believe, or for the 2016 model year, knows that it's really good around town. It's kind of peppy, and it seems to handle like sort of playfully, but that's all at like 5/10 driving. Once you really start to push Prius, and especially on the highway, it just sort of gives up. The car has nothing left to give. It doesn't handle well. It's just all tire squeal and understeer. Whereas, and then on the highway, it has like no passing power and very poor directional stability. So that just makes it hard to drive. You got to keep your hands like on the wheel, you know, really tight in order to keep the car in the right direction. So where Ioniq comes in is first off, it's a lot quicker. So this Ioniq Hybrid is about 8.1 seconds to 60 miles an hour versus about 9.9 for the Prius, like the Prius 4, like from this latest generation. So the one with lithium-ion batteries. Second thing is this. So how is Ioniq so much quicker? So we have lithium-ion batteries in here, and 106 horsepower, 1.6 liter Atkinson cycle gasoline engine. And then paired to an electric motor that makes like 125 foot-pounds of torque or something like that. So all of that is blended and creates a total system output of 139 horsepower, which seems low, but is actually really respectable when you have all that torque coming in low, like you do with this Ioniq electric motor. So it's much quicker. So it's about 8 seconds to 60. So that's not like really like quick on the grand scheme of things for car enthusiasts. But for hybrids and for cars that can do above 50 miles per gallon, that is darn quick. The next thing is really this transmission. So instead of using a continuously variable automatic, which almost all hybrids have used until now, all the Priuses, all of the Toyota and Lexus-based hybrids, and everyone they've licensed their technology to. So that includes General Motors, Ford, Subaru, Nissan, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Everybody they've licensed that technology to, they ship it in a crate, and it's like it comes as the Toyota package with the transmission, and that's the way it drives, period. So that's been a big limitation for hybrids, because that continuously variable automatic is not good. It doesn't have good urgency for passing power, and it also just sort of moves and revs and revs and revs. You know, it doesn't upshift like a normal transmission. So this 6-speed automatic has a lot going for it in general right off the bat, because it shifts and is like a real transmission with gears. So it drives in a more conventional way. But the other thing is, this isn't just better than a CVT. This is like, you know, better than a regular automatic, because it's a double clutch. So it has really snappy upshifts, and is generally sort of, you know, is perfect. Is a really, really great transmission for keeping the engine power engaged, and as well as delivering efficiency. So those are all really, really good things. So then the other big handling characteristic is that instead of a power mode, which the Prius has, you can press power and you get like ostensibly like maybe 5 or 10 more horsepower from the system. What Hyundai does not have drive modes in this Ioniq or shift paddles. More on that later. We just have drive mode here. So obviously we've gone full electric. It's like totally silent, and a gas engine just came on. You can barely tell. I mean, barely tell. So in drive, of course, you can still get the same performance, but in regular day-to-day driving, when you have the gear column in the drive setting, it is more very, very economy optimized. So you really have to floor it to get it to downshift and sort of be engaging. But all you have to do to turn this into a little sports sedan is flip it over into sport. The gauges change from like a from like a super eco meter and giant speedometer into a full-time tachometer with digital speedo, and then you have like auto stick capabilities here with the so I'm in first, so that was pretty good. So really, just this transmission is a total godsend for how well it makes the Ioniq drive. Even with this electric drivetrain, there is a better way. It doesn't have to be a Prius. Even those like Tahoe and Escalade hybrids drove like a Prius because they had to. So it's really, really great to see that there is a better way for hybrids. And then you come on to the real advantage of Ioniq, which is its handling tuning. So by having like independent front suspension and then multi-link rear independent suspension as well, with extensive tuning, because this is a global car, they're selling this exact tune in Europe, it really had to handle. I mean, it had to be able to compete effectively in European roads with European cars. So that means the performance bar is significantly higher than it is for conventional hybrids on U.S. roads. You know, like the Uber favorites and of course the Prius's dominance. But Prius, as you may know, does not sell nearly as well in Europe because it has some of the issues we talked about. So the Ioniq, by being this global platform right off the bat and engineered heavily for Europe, really is just vastly superior. The steering is better. The chassis feels extremely strong, like a really strong basis for the mounting points for the suspension and the steering system. So you have great on-center stability, but also like good reactiveness, good road holding, strong sense of the front and rear suspensions working together around corners, and then you have this amazing handling balance. So of course, front drive econo boxes are great, you can kind of chuck them around, but when you come into a corner too hot, they just understeer because all that weight is in the front. But with Ioniq Hybrid, we have a lot of the weight from the lithium-ion battery pack is underneath the back seat. So that's like, imagine you just had like well, no, it's even better than having passengers back there because it's super low. It's super, super low weight, much lower than an engine could be in an almost flat-packed lithium-ion battery. So that's amazing, and it really just sort of flattens the Ioniq's handling and cornering. So when you're going around corners where there would normally be just like a lot of weight and heft in that front end and the back end just sort of tailing along with you, this Ioniq really feels like it's engaged. Like it has all of its wheels are working together, and like it is a real performance car, or I mean at least a well-handling economy car that can be pushed and driven with more enthusiasm than perhaps the standard hybrid driver would do. So even driving like this, like I'm like, you know, a foot on the floor, I'm like in mid-30s to my miles per gallon. And on my way over here, we were very, very nicely, so fourth into like 55, 60. third. There's not great responsiveness to the auto stick, second, which is maybe why there aren't paddles in this engine, or in this transmission, but not a big deal. At least you have that option for engine braking coming down hills, which is very, very nice. But in this sport mode, it keeps the gasoline engine on all the time, and it keeps it in gear, so it's not upshifting right away like a super eco Focus. It really is down for performance. So obviously, brakes feel really, really strong. The moment the traction is braking, you're getting. Oh, let's try to push it out. So you really, both side wheels on the outside of the corner go at the same time. So that really just makes it feel much, much more balanced and much more entertaining, because the way the handling balance affects it is around corners. If you have good balance, then you can push it harder. You can just go faster before you get any kind of tire squeal. And you can push it harder, easier. It's easier on you and easier on the car. So this handling balance is really like a godsend, and it shows how much Hyundai has taken enthusiasts and car reviewer feedback to heart in the last 5 years. They have, designed the cars, and then they spend like a full 2 years getting their handling and balances figured out, like all the suspensions, and just to make the ride and handling perfect, and have like a flawless sort of BMW style global car that you can sell all over the world with the same suspension tune, and without having to worry about redoing it for individual markets, because it's so good. It's so good, and that's what Ioniq really represents in today's marketplace. So that's for so many reasons, this is like such an anti-Prius. It really is. Like, it handles, it has great steering feel. It's good on the highway with actual passing power and big car refinement and stability. And then beyond all that, you still can sort of flip the mode, go back into drive mode, chill it out, and you're popping to 60 miles an hour like instantly. It goes to EV Eco right when you're coasting, with multiple settings for those coasts, how quickly it goes to coast. Lots of other so in drive you can see I obviously have to really floor it to get it to move, whereas like on half throttle in S, it would be doing the same level of pace. But just having downshifts in a hybrid is such a nice thing. It's really hard to overstate the advantages of great handling and a great transmission for a Prius rival. And as a result, Ioniq beats it. It really, really does. This is a great hybrid that is superb, has great versatility with a really big cargo area, a genuinely premium front cabin, good drive position, and great technology. So the tech package on this Ioniq Limited. So Ioniq start from like the low 20s, like 22-ish, I believe. And then this Ioniq Limited with many, many upgrades, including like bigger wheels, moonroof, lots of other goodies, navigation with Blue Link, and 3 years of of app-controlled start and unlock and stuff like that, is all standard. And then so that Ioniq Limited starts from about 28,000, and then can go up with unavailable tech package. So the tech package adds adaptive cruise control and lane departure warning, and I think automatic high beams. We'll check. So the car is already equipped with blind spot and a great backup camera with directional lines. I mean, it really is just genuinely very, very well equipped. But adding the limited goodies just makes it much more lovable over the long term of ownership, because it has sort of the big car amenities and the big car feel. A lot of the quality stuff is really great. You've got automatic dual side climate control, little like piano key touch points for the major controls, and then of course Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. A wireless charge port down here for Android and iPhone 8, and then USB like double power ports, vents for the back seat, power driver's seat. I mean, this nice sort of like rubberized high-tech feel for the dash materials, contrasted with leather, and flat bottom sports steering wheel. It's sort of like, this is a really, really convincing Euro style hatchback. I mean, it's just really that good, and but it does everything the Prius can do and more. I mean, it really, really does. So it's just astounding. So let's do another one of these not creepy, but freaky. So obviously full electric. I'm gonna go into sport. eight-wheel transmission is such a godsend when you have all of this electric torque coming in, because it really it gives the car a pretty enthusiastic shove. I mean, it's very, very premium in its general drive when you're just poodling around, but you can push it in sport and really enjoy this car. So I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like really, really fun to drive, but it's not unfun. Like when you're pushing it hard, like we were around those corners, it was engaged. You know, the car was kind of on board. It was like, all right, let's do this. Whereas like if you do that in a Prius, it's like, you know, from like the first corner, the car is miserable, not designed to do this, and is about to like perhaps like maybe spit you off the road if you try to overcook it too much, because it's just really optimized for like being in traffic. Whereas this Ioniq is optimized for being on twisty roads with enthusiast drivers, but also can go into traffic and have this like ridiculous level of economy, silence, and smoothness. So that was a lot of words for this Ioniq Hybrid's drive experience, but it really is that good. Definitely my favorite hybrid. I'm not going to put any qualms on it. 2017's best new hybrid and the best Prius rival ever actually beats the Prius for 2017. So definitely go check out the 2017 Hyundai IONIQ and give the give the plug-in a drive if you have a garage and readily available charge ports, because that can bump your miles per gallon from about 56 up to like over 100 effective miles per gallon if you plug it in periodically. But for people who live in apartments and in the city, this Ioniq Hybrid without the plug-in capability is just what you need. I mean, going to the gas stations will be like, it's gonna feel so weird, because you never go anymore. You never need to, and you can drive it like a hoon, like I am right now, and still have, you know, a 600-mile range from a full tank of gas once a month. So check out the full review over on carrevsdaily.com in the next couple weeks, and thanks for watching. See you